the neighborhood where I lived in Jerusalem, there was a theater, a neighborhood theater, movie theater, where they used to play double bill in the afternoon. And since I remember myself, every week, every Tuesday, I'm in this theater watching double bill. In the Israeli way you grow up, you go to school, you go to high school. At the end of high school, it's a mandatory draft. And when I finished my military service, I decided to come to America to study filmmaking. And while I was going to school, one day, somebody invited me to a party. And in the party, I met Menachem Golan. Menachem Golan was a very famous Israeli filmmaker. Not very famous, the most famous. And I met him, and while I was talking with him, he told me that he was producing a movie right here in the United States. The name of the movie was Lepke with Tony Curtis. And I asked him, can I work with you in the movie? He said, of course. How much do you want? I said, I will work for free. I don't want money. I just want to come and work. He said, you're hired. Come.
I actually knew Menachem Golan when I was a kid. His daughter, Yael Golan, was my best friend at school growing up. He was directing a movie called Lepke. He let me and my mother be extras in it. Interestingly enough, when I auditioned for American Ninja, he had no idea that it was me. And he was a little bit absent-minded. He was very focused on film.
Menachem Golan, all he wanted to do was eat, sleep, drink, doing movies.
He was the Louis B. Mayer of the 80s.
I've seen him take out a napkin. We do another movie. We name it Rux. There, sign.
A very great man, you know, a very, very smart man. But money-wise, God bless Menachem, you know, he wasn't one, and the people that were working for him, he wasn't one to give out a lot of money.
In graduate school, one of the assignments is to make a short movie. I made a conscious decision. I'm going to make a full feature movie. It's called One More Chance. We took the movie, we showed it to Menachem Golan, and he agreed to finance the post-production. At the same time, Menachem Golan and Yoram Globus bought a small company, Canon Film. There was an opportunity for the company to make a martial art movie, which was called Enter the Ninja.
Ninja, hired assassins, trained killers, masters of the most deadly art known to man.
Menachem Golan, the head of the company, directed this movie.
Enter the Ninja, from Canon.
The movie made some money. It was a modest success. So immediately they wanted to make a sequel. This is Hollywood, after all. When you have a success, you make a sequel. But Menachem Golan himself did not want to go out again and direct another movie because the company was taking off and there was a lot of stuff to do in the company. He was busy and he was looking for a director. I just finished One More Chance. So probably in a natural way, they turned to me, they called me and said, listen, we have a movie. We want you to direct, but this is an action movie. Can you direct action? What am I going to say? So, of course, I know how to direct action.
Ancient Japanese warfare explodes in America. It's the ultimate martial arts adventure.
I was told that the star of the movie is going to be Sho Kosugi. So he taught me a lot about martial art and about the martial art Hong Kong type of movies. I was lucky enough to have a good crew surrounding me. I had Steve Lambert as a stunt coordinator who gave me some tip about action.
They would send me the scripts, and all the action would be empty. I was able to do anything, come up with anything, and I was like a kid in a candy store.
So, with my knowledge, with the help of the wonderful crew that I had, I got the handle on directing action sequences and putting them together. The movie was quite a success. So they wanted to do immediately another one, Ninja number 3. But Menachem Golan, for some reason, he decided not to have Sho Kosugi as a star the third time, in the third installment, but have a female actress. When we finished the third movie, Ninja 3 The Domination, and it came out in a distribution, it did not have the success of Revenge of the Ninja. Once the movie was out, or even before it was out, the heads of the company, namely Menachem Golan, approached me again and he said, we are going to make another ninja movie. Remember, Revenge of the Ninja was one of the biggest financial successes for Canon. So they wanted to make another ninja movie. But Menachem Golan came up, his conclusion from the first 3 movies was that we need an American hero. Now, at first thought, it's an absurd, because the whole ninja idea is Japanese. Japan, ninjas are in Japan. We were looking for a writer, and we were put together by the company with Paul DeMilke.
Chris Pierce, who was the head of production, was a friend of mine. I'm an ex-Marine, and I had studied martial arts and so on. So he called me and said, what do you know about ninjas? And I said, oh, a little bit. Mostly stories that I heard when I was in the Marines from guys who came back from China, Japan, and so on. So I did a little research, and a couple days later, I got hired by Canon to write American Ninja.
At some point, while we were writing or working on the script, Canon Film already had a deal going on with Chuck Norris. And they told him, we are developing for you an idea, American Ninja. They took an advertisement. They already advertised it in the Hollywood Reporter. From my understanding, Chuck Norris did not want to be in a movie that his face will be covered, which ninja is, they cover. And he rejected the idea. I was not involved in any of it, and I don't know, it was behind the scene. I learned about it much later. Now our task is to find the American Ninja. We saw about 400 young people. Among those people was Michael Dudikoff. And I must admit that when I saw Michael Dudikoff and he read for me, by gut feeling, by instinct, I had this gut feeling that this is the guy. This is American Ninja.
Dudikoff was just the perfect guy for that role.
Hollywood calls you, you have an audition, you go out there and you've got to really, there's the tension of wanting to be the best, I want this, and at the same time not wanting it. You've got to go in that door and you can do all the homework you want outside the door, but once you go through those doors, it's all you. So you've got to be on and you've got to do it right.
The most important thing about the script, of course, there is a story and plot and the usual thing in a dramatic action movie. But the most important element of the script was the concept of the American Ninja. What is this American Ninja? Who is he? And the decision was made right away that American Ninja is going to be the reluctant hero. He's not out for revenge. He's not out for trouble. He does not want to be involved in any trouble. But he's the type of hero, which is taken from Westerns, etc., which is being pulled into the action against his will.
Michael is great to work with. The action in the film is better if you can use the actor more in fighting. He did 95% of his fighting.
When you're in front of the camera, when you get these parts, you've got to really there's a lot of work. It's just, you don't just play, there's a lot more to it. Actors, we all work differently. The way I do it is I happen to be very repetitive. I read and read and read over and over and over and eat, sleep, drink the script and what it entails. And I become the guy eventually. And sometimes I don't even become him until I'm on the set. And when it happens, you know it's happening after the fact, not when you're doing it. Actor first, martial artist second.
I love Michael Dudikoff. He's such a wonderful, wonderful man, and we're still friends today. He is very giving as an actor, very serious. I don't know if people know this about him, but he's extremely serious as an actor.
I'm always looking at people in the eyes and give them a firm handshake, and I'm a very, sometimes vociferous guy. And Joe was not this guy. He was totally different. Just being there and playing this guy was a challenge for me to stay there, just stay in it, and just to be boom, right there, wham.
Because of budgetary reasons, the film was made in the Philippines.
I knew that if we are going to take an American ninja and put it in a foreign country, the story, it will not work. It will miss the point of making an American martial art movie. At the time, there were many American bases in the Philippines. Subic Bay was the biggest base. So we came up with this idea that the story will take place within an American base in the Philippines. At the time, Marcos was the president of the Philippines. It was a totalitarian political system. I don't think, and I didn't feel that it was a volatile situation. It was a very stern and stable. It was before the agitation started, way before.
Here we were staying at the most opulent hotel, the Manila Hotel. And just outside of it, it was one of the poorest places I had ever seen and been to.
The country was more or less run by maybe military police, but we didn't feel any of it.
There were times when I'd come back into my room and I can tell that my drawers had been gone through.
During the time in the Philippines, I talk about the 80s, and until today, there are rebels in the Philippines. It's a Muslim insurgency. So those characters that attack the truck convoy in the beginning are taken after this kind of rebels or terrorist groups or independent fighter groups, which are really in reality in the south of the Philippines, in Mindanao, but not in the center where we shot the movie.
We've got a touchy situation with these rebels. We're under standing orders not to provoke any incidents. There was nothing in that convoy worth protecting.
So we have decided to take the character, which is the father of the romantic interest, and he eventually will be the ultimate bad guy.
Sergeant, arrest this man. Draw up the papers necessary charging him with manslaughter.
What are you doing?
Get him out of here, and by George, this time make sure he doesn't escape. Let's go.
In hindsight, you're looking back and you see that there is a political layer to this. A commander of a military base in a foreign country betray his soldiers, and he's the one who sells weapons to the rebels.
We can't risk it. We're not shipping it out. What about the people you're trying to help? Have you forgotten about them like their own government has? Without this shipment, their country could fall to the communists. One more domino down. Who knows what country will be next?
Now, I must admit that while writing the script, this was not on our mind.
You know, you're trying to pick who's, it's who's the current bad guy, right? Now it would be ISIS. And, then there was a period where they could be Russian, and there's another period where they could be Chinese or whatever, right? So I think at the time, that was a good mix.
Kill him!
Right from the beginning, we knew that the script of American Ninja is pretty big script for a low-budget independent company like Canon. But the good thing about the Philippines that it's very cheap to shoot there. All of my movies, all the movies that I've shot, action movies, have 2 units. We always need 2 units. There is the main unit and the second unit. But we saw that in our budget we can also have a third crew that will go and do all the beauty shot and the trucks pass by. Our crew with the 3 units were 300 people.
I love the Filipino people. I married a Filipina, Great people, great locations. Countries go through things. Believe me, I've seen a lot, and it seems like a lot of times when you do these films, they seem to find where there's a problem, and we'll do a film there and send Dudikoff.
Oh, craft services. Now that's an interesting thing. I was brought on later in the day after lunch, but I was really hungry. So I ate lunch with the Filipinos on their crew. And so I'm in line, I get my food, I sit down, and I'm just about to take a bite. And somebody says, no, don't eat that. It's like, well, why? Turns out it was dog. I was like, okay, I'm not gonna do that again.
I did not have any chance to rehearse with Michael Dudikoff in America. when Michael was there and some of the actors were there, we did some readings. But the truth that in the world of low-budget movies, there is not enough of opportunity. Sometimes there is no opportunity at all to rehearse because it's not part of the budget in the low-budget movies. If I remember correctly, we just read the script one time. Remember also, the lead actor in a martial art movie is also busy a lot in rehearsing the action sequences. He has to prepare for action.
You know, being asked, first of all, even being asked to do a stunt was such a privilege.
I enjoy long pieces of action. Once you get to a location, then things could change. It could get less or it could get more. In most cases, you know, it always develops into something bigger.
You have to know when it's dangerous and whether you can do it or you can't. And let's face it, there is a little boy in you constantly doing these types of films. The little boy always comes out in me. I want to do it all.
I had to do everything. You know, in other words, if there was an ND stunt that I couldn't afford, I didn't have the money in my budget, I did it. In this case, it was Michael Dudikoff. If I didn't have enough money to get enough bad guys, enough ninjas, you know, and I came up with a stunt that all the other stunt people in the Philippines couldn't do, and I knew I was able to do, well, I put on that ninja suit and I did it. I wasn't tied, there was no cables. I was 100 feet in the air or so. What you do is you just try not to think of it and pretend like you're 5 feet above the ground. And, you know, I'm a martial artist. You know, I've been a martial artist since I was 10 years old, had experience taking martial arts. So the confidence in me by then was so tremendous, you know, that I really never thought about it.
Michael, he was busy and very occupied with the acting of the character, preparing for the action sequences. As I learned later, at some point he was sick.
I'd be fighting and I would be sweating profusely. I'd look at my fingertips and it was like a water faucet, just dripping, and I just look at the ground and it would be a puddle. And I would just see it splashing and splashing. It was like I was in a sauna. But sweating like that, I thought was just, well, it's almost 115 degrees out here. I'm in black. One day, all these people were around me, and I was on top of a hood of a car, and they said that you were flopping around like a fish out of water. I went to the doctors, and they said, yeah, you've got malaria. But I persevered, you know. I think, again, through meditation, through the things I've been through as a child, persevering through the show must go on sort of thing, the strength of my father, I just kicked in to another level and finished the film.
You are ready, my son. I will be with you in deed and in my heart. Follow the Bushido.
I will honor the code, Father.
I feel so lucky to have been in this film and been invited to the party. And I feel really proud to have been part of that and to have been able to work with Cannon. You know, the group of people, I'm still friends with them. Love Shmulik, Sam, Phil Brock, wonderful. It's really, you know, Steve James unfortunately has passed away. But we were friendly afterwards. We'd work out at the YMCA next to each other. Of course, Michael and his family. So it's really nice. I recently had a birthday and they were there, and it was fun of all of us being together for the first time in a long time.
I learned so much from doing American Ninja because as an actor, playing a martial artist, I really had to know what the heck I was, you know, I had to really know how to do this stuff. And so I had to stay on my toes just to be prepared for if they need something different.
I don't know. It puzzles me. I mean, it was really, Just one of those things, you know. I mean, and we, you know, I talked to Sam and he says, I've done, you know, 25, 30 films, and that's the one that everyone remembers.
I think we were all wanting a hero. I think it was time to have a real hero. And I think we were ready for it. And I just happened to be at the right place at the right time.
It's rare to have something last like that, even for like a fun movie like this, you know. It's not your Academy Award winning film, but it touched a lot of people. And I think one of the things that people liked about American Ninja 1 is the love story.
I had a nice time today.
So did I.
It's a love story, but it's a love story of bros. Fun, good guy love, bros.
Hey, I'm Jackson.
And then girlfriend, boyfriend love, a man and woman love. It was just simple. And I think that in that time, for whatever reason, it worked.
When you make a movie, when you direct a movie, you never know while making the movie if the movie will be a successful. And in the movies that I have directed, it's like make-believe, it's not for real. And I think that this is part of the success, part of the lightness of those movies. Now, of course, I was called by many teachers. I met some teachers that, did you direct the ninja movies? Shame on you, you know, the kids, and so on and so on. So I encountered, but, you know, this is the nature of action movie. People still need stories. And stories are sometimes violent stories. Sometimes you have love stories, sometimes you have stories with high drama, and sometimes you as human beings, we need to confront death, blood, violence in order to live with it. And that's the purpose that stories exist in the world.